What's up, homies? Welcome to No One's Homie Sports Shmenter edition. It is 8:30 on a Tuesday, October 27th. This is Clau.
This is Mark.
Yeah, adding that as a new part of the intro, saying
Time,
the
time
time
check,
and date.
time check.
So you know that we're legit, bro. We know what time it is. Uh, yeah. So this is the second of the individual shows. This is the Sports Shmenter. No,
Mm-hmm.
used to have, for those of you who are new here, we used to have this on our other shows. If you haven't listened to those, give those a listen. But if you haven't and you're listening to this, more power to you. Uh, yeah, so we're just gonna talk about some sports that happened over the weekend. There was some pretty exciting stuff, some seemingly exciting stuff, and then not so exciting pala. And yeah, so I guess let's just get into it. If I miss out on any sports, Mark, let me know. But
Sure.
uh, over the weekend we had two big sporting events. So the first was UFC 200 and what was it?
54, 53.
54. My God, there have been 254 UFCs. That's crazy.
Not
Yeah,
including the fight
yeah, fight
nights
nights
and
and
every on ESPN, things like
uh-huh,
that.
yeah, the old ones on FX. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje for the lightweight championship. And then after this, we'll talk about some F1 as well. But I guess we should go into the UFC first since it was the one that happened first. No?
We can also backtrack into like NBA
Yeah, sure.
slightly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tennis, French Open, which was a
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
big win too. You wanna play the intro? I'll play it.
Yeah, sure. I'll mute up.
Let's go.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Giannis trailing the lob. LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Man. I didn't
All
realize how much I
right.
missed that.
Yeah. It's one of the it's an oldie but a goodie.
Especially the guy in the start. It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Where's that from?
I took it. I think it's a hockey highlight. I just took it from like a random clip online.
Damn.
Yeah.
I would imagine like from a movie or something.
No, that was a real interview, bro. It's hilarious. Yeah, so actually a pretty wild week for sports, and been sports have been pretty wild, honestly, despite all the weird context of COVID, don't you think?
I think they've they've been most major sports have been able to come back in a certain way already by now. So it kind of feels normal in the sports world. You know, they have their regular events. Although some COVID related storylines pop up from time to time, like
Yeah, of course.
they actually test positive or something like that, which is
Yeah,
just
or
part
like they have to
of
be
the new
quarantined.
reality. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
especially with
like
the
Lou
sports.
Williams.
Oh yeah, but the NBA is like the least affected because they built that whole
Sure.
bubble, which was their special like COVID related, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
storyline. But the other sports such as F1, UFC, where they're still traveling, they're still
Mm-hmm.
training, having the events where people aren't in a bubble for that long a time
Mm-hmm.
compared to the NBA being the longest. So there are still more stories where it's like, oh, someone tested positive, they'll be out for the event or for a few weeks.
Yeah. The that's like when who was the tennis player? Was it Djokovic?
Djokovic, yeah,
Yeah.
he that was like that was a few months ago before the US Open even,
Yeah.
where they had like an exhibition and then they weren't really very strict with their protocols. So they all he
They
tested
partied.
positive, some other player tested positive, and then he
Didn't
had the
Jokic also test positive? Like, wasn't he there? Nikola
yeah,
Jokic.
I think so. I mean, there was never any like concrete proof, but he was playing basketball with them.
Yeah, shirts versus
And that,
skins.
yeah, I was like,
Mga
that's
bobo.
crazy. And then there's a video of them partying in a club.
Hard, yeah.
Yeah,
Like drinking
so
from the same
yeah,
bottles.
yeah,
Hilarious.
I
But
don't
also
know.
dangerous. Like,
Yeah, so
definitely don't
there's
condone that.
that. Cristiano Ronaldo recently tested positive
Yeah.
for COVID.
The
I,
Rock.
did he? Oh yeah, he
The
did.
Rock
He
did.
did.
His whole
Yeah, he
family.
did. Yeah, that's true. Even his daughter, who's like a baby.
Yeah, so sad. But they're fine.
Um, yeah, F1. The I think only one team, Racing Point. Sergio Perez got positive, but
Really? I wasn't actually aware of
Lance
that.
Stroll just recently revealed that he had tested positive because he missed not the one from last Sunday, but the one previous to that Grand Prix. So it pops up once in a while. It affects like NFL. If you follow NFL, there are teams where
Yeah.
like there some of their big positions get wiped out because these guys all tested positive for COVID
Yeah.
or were have to quarantine because they
Yeah.
interacted with someone who did. So it's
True.
part of the new reality of sports.
Speaking of NFL, really quick, I've been trying to like get into it. I've been trying to watch a few games, or like at least watch highlights of the games I don't
Yeah.
catch.
I don't even watch the full games because there's a lot of dead time.
Sometimes I
The
do. I
the
watch the
highlights- the
Seahawks.
highlights YouTube that their YouTube channel posts are very
Pretty good.
comprehensive.
Yeah,
you
pretty
really
good.
get a feel for the game, like how it
Yeah, and the
happened.
momentum, right?
The
Like when
only
they
thing
get
they
stops.
don't the only thing they don't share that I feel like they should because it's part of like telling the story of the game is like injuries. They don't
True.
usually share when someone gets injured. They don't show. He just stops appearing in the highlights. And you're
Yeah.
like, what happened there? Yeah,
That's
I
that's
Google it.
actually something that like another reason why I wanted to bring up the NFL was because OBJ just tore his ACL earlier today.
Oh
So
yeah, so I was
that's
watching the
pretty sad.
highlights. I didn't even see
Yeah, he
like
tore
there
his
was no
ACL,
moment
man.
where they carted him off or anything like that. So
Yeah, pretty sad.
I get like why you wouldn't want to show a player getting injured, but maybe just like some sign that he had to leave the
Yeah, I
game or
feel you.
something.
It's like, oh, they just subbed him out. I guess he's not good anymore.
Well, in the NFL, because like they don't play all the plays, even like
It's true.
the
They have
receivers. 'Cause
special
they gotta take
teams. Yeah,
and like they have rotational receivers because they gotta take breaks because
yeah,
they get wiped out sometimes.
for sure.
Only the quarterback, maybe. I think the skill players, the positions players like the receivers, the running
Yeah,
backs, they have a rotation. The others
Yeah.
can be pretty steady. Yeah. So I guess we can start with the NBA then. That's I think the farthest back in terms
Yeah,
of
sure. Yeah,
our
I don't mind.
flashback. Yeah. So the Lakers won, which
What?
was
No. Fuck.
dude.
Can't believe they
My
fucking
God.
won, man.
They won
My
the bubble
God.
championship. Well, they were the favorites, man.
They were, but
pretty
if
much-
Dragic wasn't injured, I think it would have been a different series. I don't know if the Heat would have won, but it would have been a different
Yeah.
series.
who could tell? I mean, the Heat were just. We haven't talked about sports since I guess the bubble started. So
Since before the playoffs.
yeah, so us mentioning that the Miami Heat made it to the NBA Finals is like in itself like looking back on our last discussion. It's like none of us even talked about Miami Heat making it
Yeah,
anywhere close
like
to
with
this.
the most we talked about was like, oh, they got Iguodala. Don't think it'll do much though. And then look, they made it to the finals.
But
They
really
owned the
played
Bucks.
well.
They
Yeah,
owned the Bucks, man.
they really the whole playoffs in the East at least. I mean,
Yeah.
Boston they pretty much wrecked. And
Yeah, Indiana, they wrecked.
So they just look like like the most polished team in
Yeah.
the playoffs, even compared to the Lakers. I would say the Lakers
True.
would win games, but it's not like everyone played well. It's like
Yeah,
they just did enough, and then LeBron and Anthony Davis did. Their
they just kind of just brute forced it, and then the one game they
Yeah.
did play well was the game they won the whole thing. You know, like
pretty
when they
much. Yeah,
they just owned.
they win on just because they have too much star power
Yeah,
at some point compared
And-
to at least Miami in the finals.
yeah, but it was so nice to watch Miami play. You know, like their parang extra pass culture, and it
They
was
just compete hard. Yeah.
yeah. And it's Bill Simmons was the one who said it, founder of the Ringer. The thing about Miami is they could be down by like 15 to 20 points in like the start of the fourth quarter, and then they could just go on a run, hit a
Yeah,
couple of threes,
true.
and then they'll just be back in it.
Yeah, because they've got those streaky players, and they got a good mix of streaky players like Duncan Robinson,
Tyler Hero.
Kendrick Nunn. If he had a big game, I think Game 4 was it?
Yeah.
Or Game 5
Even Jay Crowder at times, you
Yeah.
know, like he'll hit a few shots and
Iguodala will still pop in to be productive on the points end because he
True
does
that.
a lot of work when it's not scoring.
yeah,
In terms of just like leading the team,
defense,
pacing the team,
playmaking,
defense,
yeah.
right. But he still has games where he can hit those open threes if you.
I
if you
know.
let him.
I thought he was done with that point of his career where he was hitting open threes, but I was glad to see it, man.
Yeah, and even Kelly Olynyk had big games when Bam Adebayo was still
It's
out
true. At the
early in
start of the
series.
series. Yeah.
So man, the Heat they made it really fun for me to see like a team like that make it all the way
Agreed.
to the finals. Because if
Agreed.
it was Lakers Bucks and Lakers winning, I mean it would probably be not as dramatic a story as like the Heat
True.
battling and almost what took him to 6 games. Six
Yeah.
game was pretty blowout, but like there were a lot of moments where they were really competing
Dude, the
there.
fifth game was so good. Like watching
True,
Jimmy Butler
true.
just will his team.
And they play basketball that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers won, but it's not always fun to watch them, especially when LeBron or AD is not on the court.
Yeah. I argue
It's a
it's
bit
not fun
rough.
to watch them except when LeBron is on the court, which is a lot, you know. But
True. Even Rondo, I mean, I mean, like he's not the same as he was in Boston where he would score also. So you know what he's
yeah.
gonna do.
But
So
he
it's a
played so
very,
well.
very
I'll give him
yeah,
that.
of course.
I'll give
of
him that.
course. The players on the Lakers that I was surprised. I was happy to see play well. Was like Dwight took on his role and just did it to
Yeah.
like help the team.
KCP. I was happy that
KCP.
I'm happy he showed up. Honestly, I'm kind of annoyed still with the Dwight storyline. It's just I just feel like he was playing like an annoying person, you know? Like he's just the guy who's banging bodies, like trying to injure the star of the other team. I mean, yeah, he had rebounds and stuff, but it was just like, man, you used to be my favorite player, bro, and now you're like the thug of the team.
He got a ring because of it. So
It's true. It's true though.
yeah, who
But I
knows?
couldn't stand it when he was like in an interview, like early before the playoffs even started, in the bubble already though. He was like, yeah, when Kobe was telling me this and that. It's like, what, bro? Didn't Kobe hate your ass? What is this foolishness? My God, yeah. But yeah, I guess
Um,
to some extent, I am happy for Dwight, and he did end up winning a championship in Orlando.
I didn't realize that till you
I
just
just saw
said
it
it
on
now.
Reddit, and I was
Pretty
like,
good, pretty
clever,
good.
yeah.
Pretty good.
Another thing was, I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room. All of our listeners know I'm a Clippers fan. That was probably the worst collapse could be in NBA history for a team that was touted to make it to at least the Western Conference Finals. So I'll take that on the chin. Our guys talked more shit than I wish they had. Patrick Beverly talked too much shit. Marcus Morris, what are you? Are you even like for real? Like fuck off, bro. But I think that we have a promising future. With our.
You think?
I think so. I mean, we got Ty Lue as head coach, right? Okay, that's nothing crazy. But we also got Kenny Atkinson from
The Nets.
the Nets, the former head coach of the
Who I
Nets.
think they shouldn't have fired when they got a different coach last year
Yeah,
when Kyrie came. But now it's even
Yeah.
Steve Nash, so I
yeah.
don't know what's up with the Nets for that.
Yeah, and then we also got what's his name, Dan Craig, and not the actor, this assistant coach from the Heat. So and Chauncey Billups. So I'm not, I'm
They
still
never,
optimistic.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
optimistic, and I hope we trade for a point guard or something. Look, man, it was hard to watch them collapse against the Nuggets. It was like, wow, I can't believe this is gonna happen again. By game 6, I was like, oh my God, it's gonna happen again. This freaking happened to us against Houston. It was hard to watch, but I still see more upside with this team than the Lob City Clips. As much as I love
Of
the Lob
course,
City
on
Clips,
paper, right? They had
yeah,
that
on
one
paper,
moment, but there was a reason why they were also a favorite before that whole collapse happened. On
yeah,
paper, they're still a really solid team, but just I guess when they had to, I don't know, Denver just kept pushing and then they kind of folded, which is
they
kind of
didn't.
weird.
Yeah, they didn't really have like a leader, like a
I mean, Lou
real
Williams
lead
didn't play as well
at all, at all.
as
And
more like
Montrez,
what you would expect. Yeah.
yeah, and Montrez. But it's like at the end of the day, for me, if we lost, we lost. But what I hated to see was that there was no more heart at the end of it. Like they did. That's it. You said it. They rolled over, man. And
Yeah,
as a
pretty much.
fan, that was heartbreaking. Like if they went down swinging, whatever. We went down swinging to a young gunning team, but no, no, they just quit, motherfuckers. Yeah, so that left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm hoping that we at least get something out of this off season. Yeah. If you want to talk shit to me, any listener, please do DM us or whatever. Just do it. Do it. I'll take it on the chin. I'm a man. I know who I picked. And some of my friends were like, who's your next team gonna be? I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, oh yeah, like the Clippers were so bad. Aren't you gonna change team? I was like, bruh, it's been like this. This isn't. It's not that this is new. It's just that we were expecting different, but it's been
well,
like this.
well, because the way they lost is kind of like it shook up
Yeah,
their whole
terrible,
image. You know what I mean? Like
terrible.
teams lose, they're not good to begin with, but you're looking for a bright side in terms of culture,
Yeah,
personalities. But this one was a failure of culture and personality, right? Because their
exactly,
talent is there. That's where it's
exactly,
like, man, do you want to be a part of this
exactly.
organization? Because
Yeah.
it's not
I
doesn't
never
sound too
had my
good.
doubts though. I never had my doubts. I trust in whatever redemption, whatever. I don't know what I trust in, but I don't want to go anywhere else. Also, because I still love our guys. I love Kawhi. I love Lou Will. Montrez can go. I can live without Montrez. Uh,
How about PG? Yeah,
PG, I wouldn't be mad if they traded him for like Drew
it sounds like
Holiday. You know what I mean?
it sounded like he was one of the main, if not the main issue
Yeah.
in that locker room.
It was kind of just like there was. I think it was a mix of things. Like Doc kind of had played some favorites. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that rubbed people the wrong way. And so I think also PG got in his head a bit because he was like fourth in the ranking for or third in the ranking for
Yeah, and
MVP last year.
I didn't think he was that type of player actually.
Me
Like
too.
when he
People
would
said,
reveal about like him being nervous and like in the bubble, he didn't like it
yeah,
inside. I was like, I didn't know you were affected by all this
yeah,
outside news
yeah,
stories or
and
whatever.
like people were talking about like historically he disappears in the playoffs, and I mean statistically, yeah, but I always thought that as an emotional force, he was there. Like he was like whether it was Indiana or in OKC, actually he played well in the playoffs. It's just that their team was like outgunned every time. So
That's
I
why
don't
this is the
know.
first time where I was like, oh, he might not be like at least
Yeah,
character wise the one you'd want
exactly.
in that
Yeah,
moment or in
yeah.
that
So
position. Hmm.
So if they traded PG for like a good point guard who can also kind of be like an emotional leader, like I said, Drew Holiday, my sister put that in my head and I can't stop thinking about it. I would like to get Drew Holiday
I don't know about that. Seems like a risk.
or Chris
I,
Paul. I just want to have Chris Paul on my team because if he goes to the Lakers,
or
oh my God, that'll fuck me up, man. He's my favorite player. Goes play for the fucking crosstown rivals. Ruin everything. But yeah, this offseason should be interesting. A lot of moves to be made. Not really interesting in terms of free agents though. Like kind of small time free agents. I think Montrez, AD is definitely gonna re-sign with the Lakers. He'd be dumb not to. um, who else?
yeah,
Marcus Morris. I
nah,
only know the Clippers
I
free
don't think
agents.
it's this like there's any big moves yet, or at least
Yeah.
not being talked about.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about where Chris Paul might end up, though, and I am interested to see that. I would like if he doesn't end up in the Clippers, which is highly likely that he does not end up in the Clippers. I'd like to see him with the Bucks. With Giannis. I think that'd be pretty dope. Get rid of Bledsoe, who is he's awful in the playoffs. Wow, I didn't think he was that awful, but he was that awful, and wow.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But the Suns, yo, you must be looking pretty optimistic about the Suns right now. You guys went undefeated in the bubble, hit a game winner over the Clippers. Fuck me, man. Fuck me.
We take it one day at a time in the Suns. You never know.
Bright future Suns.
Yeah.
You guys get a new coach?
No, I mean Monty Williams was their coach last year, so he
Yeah.
did I think pretty well in his first
Yeah,
season.
definitely.
Started strong, hit a rough patch. I mean, the team isn't really that talented to begin with, and there were some injuries along the way.
True.
Ended strong, so it's like there are moments where it's like if you could just be this team
All the
for the
time.
whole season, we're talking maybe six or seven seed, I think.
Sure,
But
yeah, I can see that.
they do have their role players, especially if they're not in the zone or in form, then it becomes a struggle to win games. So
Yeah, and your bench. I think your bench is probably the biggest question mark.
hopefully the bubble kind of
Like
made them,
invigorated them.
yeah,
Yeah,
believe in themselves, because like I said, they can't play winning basketball against teams that are good teams. So
true that. And I think Aiton also found his like himself. I think he was kind of like lost a bit, trying to figure out what kind of player he was gonna be. If like, and then eventually he figured out how to make himself like a rebounding force and like a defensive, like something you have to care about on
yeah,
defense. You know?
I mean, DeAndre Ayton as a first pick in a draft that had like Luca, Trey Young is always
Yeah.
gonna look a bit bad, but I don't think he's a bad player.
Yeah, and it's the pieces you
Yeah,
need. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like it's the
yeah.
pieces you need. Like you couldn't have guessed Luca was gonna be the second coming of Christ, man.
I kind of was like, they should just pick Luca. I mean, like,
Yeah, I'm sure. Because
'cause
he
I was
looked
like, come
good.
on,
He
man.
looked
Yeah, it's
good.
like,
His highlights look really good.
is it that American bias where it's like I'm gonna pick this guy from NCAA, but it's like the other guy's like a teenage MVP
Yeah,
in which is the second best league in the world in terms of like the Euro League. So I was like,
yeah,
I think Lucas' credentials were not light by any means. I think it's just Americans don't
probably.
regard it or underrate that aspect. I mean,
I
like,
don't
to
think
be
they do
MVP as
now
a
though.
teenager, right? Who
I think
knows?
now. I think now they realize like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, you got
we all fucked
Jokic,
up.
who's like a second round
Hmm.
pick. Yeah, Luca,
Luca. I mean, yeah, and then you have
Porzingis is
guys like
still there.
yeah,
Giannis. So
Giannis,
the international
Dragic. I mean,
players,
still
yeah, the
got these
international
dudes.
players are, it's harder to pick, I guess, like as an average. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just the average, but
but still,
they played it safe with that Aidan pick. Was my call
yeah,
even
I
when it
think so
happened.
too.
I was
I
like,
think so
everyone
too.
said he has to be number one. I said, man, it's a boring center pick. Happens all the time. So
Yeah, that's true. Man, imagine Luca and Devin Booker on one team.
yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
That's why I was like, come on,
Holy
man,
shit.
come on, man.
That would've been
Who
crazy.
knows? Or even Trey Young, man.
Trey Young, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, Trey Young too. I mean, I hope that like his team figures it out because I like that guy.
Yeah,
He's a
true.
crazy shooter. Anything else? Anything else interesting? KD coming back next season. I'm pretty excited for that. I hope he's up to form.
Uh,
But he's
all
teammates
right.
with Kyrie, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
the
I don't know.
the it's like the two problem childs
They
of
really
the
are. They
NBA.
really are.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but they kind of, it's a little suspect how much they're like, we love each other, honestly. Like, we're like best friends. Why you keep telling us that? Like, we don't, guess what? We don't really care that much. Just play well. You don't have to
Yeah.
tell us. Fucking
I don't
Kyrie in
know.
interviews is like, if anybody steps to Kevin, you better step to me. It's like, bro, like, who is stepping to Kevin right now? He just won a champ. Like, shit.
Kyrie makes that like he I don't know, even when he was like in Boston, apparently he makes it a big deal that he's being a good teammate or
Yeah,
whatever. And
yeah,
what happens is, like you said, he's kind of weird. He's not really that good of a teammate. So maybe I don't know,
exactly.
dude. I don't know.
Like if you gotta tell people how good you are of a teammate, you're probably not that good of a
Yeah.
teammate. You know what I mean?
And
Your
then
teammates would probably be the ones saying it.
when Steve as his head coach, he said like, I think anyone can be the coach on any
Yeah.
given day. I was
Oh.
like, come on,
Oh.
that's not the right response to this new head
Yeah.
coach. All you say is
Yeah.
congrats. Look forward to working with him, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Like one of the
Private.
greats of our game. You know. Blah, blah.
Steve Nash is my favorite player of all time. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Come on.
Show some respect.
Two-time back-to-back MVP. One of the greatest point guards to play the game.
For sure, easily.
But yeah, Kyrie's like that talaga.
He is. But I do hope for success for the Nets because I like their core.
Sure.
I like Spencer Dinwiddie. I like Karis LeVert.
I kind of like the whole team from 2 years ago when they had D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah. What happened to that team? I like that team.
They took out D'Angelo Russell, signed
Yeah.
KD and Kyrie, and then they got rid of Kenny Atkinson. I was like, I know you guys made it to the 8th seed, and then
Yeah.
you just removed like the heart and soul of the team in some ways, right?
It's like that that Planet of the Apes scene, like, you idiots, you blew it up. You blew it all up. Yeah.
Well,
There's some
technically they're better, but it's a
yeah.
better. I was like, I'm not.
Remains to be
Yeah,
seen, man. Kyrie is toxic, I gotta say.
most probably
He
is.
is
Yeah.
pretty toxic, right? Other than that, I don't think there's really much yet in terms of NBA. Oh, it might start in December and might
Yeah.
only be 72 games. So that's something interesting that I'd like to see for sure.
Well, it's just like a correct. It's like a slower correction because of COVID. I think they said they want to
Yeah.
finish the season before the Olympics start. So
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
It'll
And I'd like to
be
see
a
it.
bit before they get to completely normal schedules. I think.
Sure. But like, everybody's been talking about it for a few years now, and I'm kind of into it. The whole idea of a shorter season, you probably sustain less injuries, less people would have to load manage. You'd get fresher players in the playoffs. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Might be
We'll
completely
see.
wrong.
Well, it's not really like shortening the season because October to December, it's like they didn't rest as much either, so they
Well,
can
yeah,
still gonna play a lot of
that's
games.
true. But if they continue it that way, I mean, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
Doubtful.
Doubtful. Yeah. There's too much money.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think we're good on the NBA right now.
Okay.
Uh,
Um.
After
Next up, it
NBA.
was like a recap of tennis. Rafael Nadal
Oh
won
yeah, you
the
can take the
French
lead on this
Open,
one.
beating Djokovic in the finals pretty comprehensively. If you
Yeah,
saw
pretty
it, Djokovic just
dominantly.
looked out of it.
Yeah.
And usually when it's Nadal versus Djokovic, I fear for Nadal because that's like his kind of his like kryptonite as a
But it
player
was
because he
his
likes.
court, right? It was
Yeah, yeah,
Nadal's
sure,
court.
but like there have been times where it's obvious that Djokovic is close to beating him even in on
Mm-hmm.
clay on that
Mm-hmm.
surface. So it's not a done deal. But to be beaten like in three straight sets, where the first set was 6-0, was kind of shocking too.
Yeah, it's true. I was
Djokovic has these moments where he's not always
engaged.
engaged. Yeah, you can tell. Like he's just not. His intensity isn't there.
Yeah.
So he, I mean, like against Nadal in the finals of the French Open, I think that's like there's no way you can be at that level and hope to win.
Yeah. Sorry, but before we continue, what was that thing that happened with Djokovic where he couldn't participate in the tournament? Something like he threw a ball at a ref or what? I
Oh,
didn't
that was the
understand it.
U.S. Open.
Yeah, before that, right? It was like the
Yeah,
tournament before that.
I was like maybe a month before that, so it was probably like September or something. Basically, like in the middle of a game, he got mad, so he just hit the ball like out of frustration, and then hit one of the umpires, the line judges, in the side, in the
I
throat,
see now.
and it's just like you gotta be disqualified for that,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
is just straight up the rules. I don't
Standard.
think. Yeah, it was an accident. He wasn't even looking, but it's like your irresponsible action, so we can't like let you keep playing.
Yeah.
Pretty
What's
much.
the what's the name? Johnny McEnroe, the old is that him? The old tennis player who
Yeah.
used to like lose his shit. I guess they can't. They're just like we can't have that again. We can't.
No, that's different. Because he's arguing. Like
Oh,
what he would do is
really? So there are
he would
different
just
rules for that.
argue. He would just argue with the umpire over like a call. It's like, oh, it's in, it's out, because they didn't have the
The
Hawkeye
review,
instead of
yeah.
replay thing. Yeah, so he'd just be like, hey, and you get warnings, but I think like when it's physical, like hurting someone, I think that's like the top penalty. Na.
Yeah. Okay.
'Cause
Okay.
usually the penalty is a warning, and then they'll give the other person a point, and then if you do it again, they'll give the other person a game, which is pretty much like a big deal. I don't think
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone get more than that aside from disqualified completely. I don't think they give
Uh,
away sets as penalties.
that's like why are we even playing anymore?
Yeah. So yeah, Nadal won his 20th Grand Slam at the French Open. So he's tied with Federer for the most. Pretty crazy that he and Federer have 20 each. Djokovic, I
Yeah.
think, has 17 or something, 18, 17. So those three guys have taken 60 Grand Slams for this 4 years. So they won like basically the last 15 years worth of Grand
Jesus
Slams.
Christ. Oh man.
Yeah.
But
Sprinkle in
that's
a few of the people who got lucky there. Murray has 2 or 3. Yeah, so it's like dominance of those three players in one era. It's like you're imagining like LeBron, Kobe, and Michael Jordan, or that type of caliber player
yeah,
all
yeah.
playing at once and all playing each other in the big matches. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in the NBA, like how often do you see them in the finals? This one's like you see them in the finals, so it's kind
Yeah.
of wild.
Shout out to what's her name again? Is it Naomi Osaka? What
Yeah.
is it?
That is, yeah.
I think it's
Why?
her. Yeah. Shout out to her because she's dating YBN Corday.
Actually,
Like,
she.
go girl, and
Yeah.
go
Okay.
go YBN. Like, goddamn, yo.
Oh, he's not YBN Corday
Yeah,
anymore.
he's just
just
Corday now.
Corday.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I checked
Just
on
for
Spotify too. just just so we're clear.
true.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we move on to the actual relevant sports.
yeah, the ones that happened this
From-
weekend.
Yeah.
So let's start
You
with the
start us off.
UFC.
Yeah.
Man,
I
this was a
didn't
tough one
watch.
to watch. This was a tough one to watch. I had to get up at 2 a.m. to watch this one.
I was watching at Tudor. I just nodded off and
Yeah.
oops.
I was watching the first fight, the light heavyweight fight. That was Magomed Ankalaev.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
one still.
Yeah. This Magomed character, he's like a killer. Is he also from Dagestan? I think he is. Like, these freaking Russians are just cleaning out the house.
I just assume so. I mean,
Yeah,
the
me
name
too.
is there.
Yeah, but yeah. So I was able to catch that, and then as soon as like he won, I kind of started nodding off. And when I woke up, it was Whitaker versus Cannonier already. I was like, oh my god, what did I miss? Yeah, I missed the Volkov fight, which I wanted to catch. He apparently won by KO/TKO in the second round. You didn't did you watch the highlights or anything?
Not yet. UFC don't post highlights.
That's true.
Same
So
way.
so I just want to say about the Robert Whitaker fight versus Jared Cannonier. So Jared Cannonier is like an up and coming middleweight, trying to fight his way into contendership. And Robert Whitaker, if you don't know, if you don't follow the UFC, is the former UFC middleweight champion, and he's just a world class fighter. And watching him perform, it was his first 3-round fight in like his last 6 or 7 fights. So, and his fitness is pretty good. So like he can go 5 rounds in a war.
I mean, he's a little bit of an all-arounder type.
Yeah,
isn't
he is. He is like that friend you have that says he takes MMA. And he's like, where did you start? He's like, I started with MMA. Like, that's
Just got a little bit of everything.
yeah. And he's so
Right.
good though. He's so polished. Like I always forget because he's like that all-arounder, I don't really know him for anything.
Yeah, you usually sleep on him because it's like
Yeah.
if you look at his highlight package, it's like it's no big. I mean, he'll have knockouts and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's not,
And he's
not
had impressive
as-
performances, but it's just that you never remember like his mad knockouts or like his
Yeah.
crazy submissions,
and his
you know?
personality isn't like the most
True.
like what do you call this, like
Magnetic.
out there.
Yeah.
Like not super exciting, just a solid fighter.
Yeah, but you know what I learned, like watching him in this fight again, like I've watched a bunch of his fights and every fight it happens to me, but I think I'm going to remember it from now on, is that he's world class, man. The way that he can pace himself at the start of fights and his speed.
Based on his fight against like Israel Adesanya, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
like, it felt like he, it was like it's not enough. You have to have a special oomph.
I think
Against-
against Adesanya too, what was lacking was that he let Adesanya control the octagon. You know what I mean? Like he let Adesanya dictate. He was
True,
more
fair.
reactive than, because he's normally a proactive fighter. He pushes the pace a lot. So I think that's what was lacking. I'd be interested to see a rematch for sure because I
You
think
think?
they're a pretty good match. I do, yeah.
I just felt like I didn't see anything in that match. I was like, oh, this is what Whitaker could do to turn it around.
I think he wasn't. He was also coming off of like pretty long break because of injury. I think he tore
Fair
his
enough,
groin or
fair
something,
enough.
or he had like a hernia removed, one of those things, and that's a pretty major surgery, you know. So recovering from that, whether you're a champion or not, like it's a big thing. So it was nice to see him top form. Though I still think Adesanya would win. Okay, like that being said, Israel Adesanya, for those of you that don't know, is the current UFC middleweight champion. But yeah, he looked so good. He looked so quick and flexible, and like you just never. I didn't expect it because he looks like kind of clunky guy. Like he doesn't really look like a flexible dude. And I think I'm kind of biased because they were doing those like vlog series that they do before every fight. And he was gaming on his laptop on his Omen. He was using an HP Omen 15 like the previous year. And he was playing like "Don't Starve" with his friends while on the vlog. I was like, this guy, we
Okay.
would
Yeah.
we would hang
That
out with
would
this guy.
that would turn my image of him
Yeah.
to
And
see
he was just
something like
like,
that.
it's just my way to hang out with my friends and like blow up some steam. I was like, I feel you, bro. I feel you.
So you won. You won the fight.
he won the fight, yeah, pretty decisively too. In the first round, Jared Cannonier kind of it was kind of worrying because he threw these leg kicks and it hit Whitaker's leg started like swelling up pretty quick. And if you slow down his legs, then he can't push the pace. So it was I was wondering if that was going to affect him, but he's a pro, he was able to adjust and he caught Cannonier with a few big shots. Yeah, especially in the second round, I think he hurt him pretty bad. Yeah, and then the main event, which was the only reason that I decided to wake up for this freaking thing. Like if it was just Robert Whitaker versus Jared Cannonier, I'd probably just not watch. But Khabib Nurmagomedov, the current UFC lightweight champion, faced Justin Gaethje, who was the interim UFC lightweight champion, who had just beaten Tony Ferguson, who was considered to be one of the top 5 ranked lightweights, actually top 3 ranked lightweights in the division, but the rankings in the UFC kind of mean jack shit. So,
If you're in the top 10, you're good to go.
yeah, you're good to go.
Kinda
You're
good,
pretty
yeah.
much like, yeah, you're legit. But Khabib is, I'm pretty sure that most people know who he is at this point, but he is, I think, now considered to be the most dominant champion in terms of like what he does in fights and the amount of rounds that he's won. That means like total rounds of all his fights, he's only lost 2. I don't know, and he's had
Yeah.
like 29 professional fights.
Fights.
So
Never lost.
never lost. 29 and 0 and 0. No contests either. This man is an undisputed champion, and many are arguing now that he's the greatest of all time. I'm inclined to agree, honestly, just because of how consistent he is and how he has
True.
been like an example in and
True.
out of the octagon. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say he's the most talented because, like,
Yeah.
again, the argument for John Jones is he as the most talented seems like it's
For
the
sure.
strongest because he's
For
like
sure.
natural at everything.
hmm
But Khabib does his game plan so well because everyone knows what his moves is. It's
Yeah, but you
wrestling,
can't stop
take
him.
you down, and then he'll just beat you up while you're down there.
Yep.
Or submit you while you're down there, and he does that every time,
And no one
And-
stops it.
and no one stops it. No one can stop it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so as the greatest fighter, the same way like Floyd is some
Yeah,
people argue
exactly.
the greatest boxer. It's like probably not the most talented in terms
Yeah.
of he's not the most powerful, the fastest. But if you're talking about the greatest fighter, meaning getting the win, then it's probably him because I would bet on him to win every fight that he takes.
It's true. He was like a minus 325 favorite. It's crazy. The thing about Khabib, like those of you that know me, I'm a big Conor McGregor fan, and then during the Khabib McGregor fight, like people were saying like, "Oh, this is it! Like McGregor's time to show his true." The thing about that fight was nobody really thought McGregor was gonna win the fight like decisively. They just thought he had what we call a puncher's chance.
Yeah, yeah.
A puncher's
Like
chance.
if he gets him in the first round.
Yeah, in the first first round, first few minutes, if he can hit him with a big one, then maybe
might
he'll
win.
take it. But
Yeah.
that's not what happened. He got
I
choked
don't
out.
think I don't think there's any fighter who has went against Khabib where it's like he has the chance to win in a prolonged fight. Everyone
Yeah,
always
no,
thinks
I don't
if
think
it
so.
lasts long, Khabib is probably winning this because that wrestling is I think it's just too much for you
It's
to be
overwhelming.
round
It's
after round, right?
overwhelming. Yeah.
You can see in some of the fights where people try to get up, he'll just pull you back down
Yeah.
by the legs, like he'll wrap around your legs, right? Then
Yeah.
scoot you back down. So it's just like endless.
Dude, and the way that he does it is just like watching a bully beat up
Yeah.
like a kid in the
Yeah.
schoolyard. Like if you watch his highlights, guys, like you can check it out on YouTube. There are some that are dubbed with what Khabib is saying during the fight. Like he's wailing on them, like throwing punches while they're on the ground. He says, "You have to quit. You have to give up. I will not stop. I won't stop." It's like, damn, dude, how demoralizing can it get? The dude's
So
telling you.
how did this fight go?
So in the first
Captain
round,
Force.
Khabib immediately took charge of the center of the octagon. Like he just kept pushing and pushing. But Justin Gaethje is such a high-paced fighter and such a wild fighter that, you kind of thought like, okay, sure, whatever. He'll play Khabib backing up and just keep throwing. And he got a few hits, like a few good hits in too. Khabib showed that he can still stand. He's mainly a wrestler, but he can stand and he's respectable while standing. But after Justin got like 2-3 good hits on him, he just faked the jab. So Justin throws a leg kick and then he took him down. And that was it. Like as soon as he took him down, you're like, ah, shit. Okay, here we go again. Like, it's the same thing again.
Push him up against the
Yeah.
fence.
But it's not, honestly, it doesn't sound fun, but it's actually pretty amazing to watch when you see it, guys. Like, because he's just so dominant. It's like, damn, I've never seen if you've never seen an actual fight in your life, like even in person or like even just watching fight videos on YouTube and you watch Khabib fight, or if you have seen one even, you'll realize like, damn, there aren't many fights where one guy is just fucking the other guy up consistently, you know? And then in the second round, it happened again. They started standing, and then Khabib, Justin Gaethje got Khabib's respect because, you know, he got a few good counters in. And then Khabib takes him down. And as soon as he takes him down, like, he basically, like, double legs him and then pushes him to the cage. And from there, he immediately got full mount, which means
But that's his spot. That's his
Yeah.
spot. He'll trap your legs in between his legs.
Yeah, and that's
so that
it.
you can't even use it to get up.
Yeah, or you can't pull guard, you know? Like, you can't
Yeah.
put him in between your legs while you're on the bottom, which in
And then he'll
jiu-jitsu is pulling
he'll
guard.
grab one of your wrists so that you just can't even
Yeah.
use it to posture
As like
up.
leverage or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then it was so quick, man. Like as soon as he got full mount, parang he didn't even bother with ground and pound anymore. He transitions to an armbar, and like as soon as Gaethje is even like slightly able to break past the armbar or fight through, he transitions it into a triangle, and that was it. Like that
Yeah.
was that was the end of the fight. One thing I wanted to mention for anyone who decides to watch a replay of this fight or sees it on YouTube when it becomes a free fight, or I don't even know if that'll happen because Khabib retired. But Justin Gaethje tapped out in about 4 or 5 seconds into the no, not even like 3 seconds into the submission, and the referee didn't stop it. Like it was so fucked. So he tapped once, and then the ref was still looking. Then he tapped again, and the ref still didn't stop the fight. And then his arm,
Who's the ref?
some guy from, I think he's from like the Abu Dhabi fight association. It was so bad, man, because like then Gaethje got knocked out and like he passed out. I was like, what's happening here?
What was the commentary?
The commentary was like, oh, he tapped, that's it. Oh, they're not stopping the fight. And then when
Who was on commentary? John Anik and DC.
John
I think,
Anik,
right?
DC, and one or maybe it was just them. Yeah, just John Anik and DC. But man, that was a great fight. Great to see one of the greatest of all time do it.
So Justin Gaethje didn't have a moment where he looked like he was gonna win it.
Not really, man. It looked like, you know, maybe he didn't, like maybe he'd outstrike him, but you knew that if it became
but that's
hairy
not- But that's like saying like, oh, if you let me shoot threes, I'll
Exactly.
win because that's
Exactly.
my specialty. It's like
exactly.
you have to win
So
the fight how it's presented to you.
it didn't at any moment look like Justin had control of the fight. Like at any moment.
Like it wasn't his game plan out there.
Oh,
right? I
hell
assume,
no.
right?
Hell no. You could see he was hella tired by the end of the first round. Because Khabib, the thing about Khabib is that he's just stalking you. He's not even like, he's not jogging or hopping around. He's just walking you down, and you're the one who's like jogging around trying to avoid his range for takedowns. It's crazy.
But I feel like he doesn't have to be so active just because he has the
Exactly.
threat of him shooting for a takedown is so obvious that people react to it when when nothing's happening yet.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like part mental warfare in this
Yeah.
game, I guess.
Some notable things that happened immediately after the fight. So Khabib's father passed away earlier in the year, not COVID related, I believe. And then this was his first fight without his father in his corner. His father was like one of his trainers growing up and a huge influence in his life. And even before, you could tell that like he was a big part of his life and they had a very close relationship. As soon as the fight ended and Khabib officially won, he just went to the center of the octagon, like knelt down and like planted his face on the mat and just started bawling out. And man, you couldn't not feel for the guy, you know? It was really emotional, and you could tell like this meant a lot to him to do that fight. And he mentioned after during the interview with John Anik that he's retiring. That's his last fight. He says that's it. I'm the goat, or I'm the most dominant champion. I'm the best. Like I'm definitely the most undefeated champion, but I'm now the most dominant champion. 29-0. And people agree. What are you gonna say? Like John Jones is chirping. He's saying like, "Oh come on! Like I beat Vitor Belfort. I beat Lyoto Machida. I beat Alexander Gustafsson, Daniel Cormier." It's like that's true, but you tested positive for PEDs, and then
The first Gustafsson fight was debatable, so people thought that Gustafsson won. The
yeah. I
first
still
one,
think
yeah.
I do think that Jones won it, but yes, I know that's an argument, and also
The
you know
Dominic Reyes fight.
yeah, that was a bad fight. Honestly, I
Right?
thought Reyes won in terms of points, and
So
then
it's like Khabib has never lost a fight.
yeah,
As
not
in,
like
there are
that.
no. You
Yeah,
can look
no
through his
question,
record,
no
yeah,
question.
and the
Yeah,
way he's
that's it.
won every fight is like you don't
Yeah.
even know what the redeeming factor for his opponent is. Like I asked, I was like, was there any moment where it looked like it?
No, there
Um,
was none. There
yeah,
was none.
Justin Gaethje looked like he might have a shot. Because in
Yeah,
the
no.
John Jones fight, there are times where it's like this guy's winning. He just has to keep
Yeah,
it up, and then you saw most of the time they just can't pull it off. But
yeah.
but they
It's like
had
he could be
parts
in
where they
trouble.
were winning. Yeah, they were winning the
Yeah,
fight at some
Cormier
point.
fight, the Lyoto Machida fight, even the Vitor Belfort fight. He got caught in an armbar, and like he
So
almost tapped out. So
yeah, again, I maintain John Jones is probably the most talented fighter
yeah,
ever, but the most dominant. Yeah, I mean, could be how hard to
debatable in
argue.
favor
Hard to
of
argue.
Khabib. Yeah, hard
Yeah.
to argue against Khabib right now. And you know what?
Like
For what it's
the only one he
worth,
didn't face, I guess, is Tony Ferguson. That's the only question mark that
yeah,
made
the only
people leave
question
up
mark.
there.
But come on, I mean, let's be real.
I
Ferguson
wouldn't
might
I
be
wouldn't bet against Khabib in that fight
Yeah,
either.
if I
Still,
mean Ferguson might be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but it's just there's nothing like Khabib, it seems.
yeah,
And
I
that
don't
fight
know.
is cursed. Every time they tried to make it, one of them gets injured or something. So
I know, yeah, it's not a knock on Khabib. That's why it's like I
yeah,
can't take that against him that he never fought Ferguson because every other fight he's taken, which are by no means he's never. It doesn't look like he picks easy fights. It's just that he just outclasses every opponent that
yeah,
he faces.
exactly. And
Right?
then yeah, for what it's worth, also outside of the octagon, Khabib is an honorable person. Like he's just a
True.
respectable guy and a respectful guy.
Kind of
Uh,
boring. That's
kind
why
of
most
boring,
people.
but it's
Yeah.
like that's what you want your
At the
example
end
to
of the day,
be.
yeah. At the end of
Yeah,
the day, it's
you
like
know,
okay, you're
like
not
it's
my
funny.
favorite fighter, but there's no I will always
I'll
mention you
respect
in
you for
yeah
sure. Like I will
yeah.
definitely like you deserve my respect. You like damn, you've done nothing to not earn it. And freaking John Jones, like get your shit together. You want to be the goat, get your shit together. I
Yeah.
love you as a fighter. You were one of my favorite fighters when I first started watching the UFC, but man, you crashed into a pregnant lady high on cocaine. You ran back to get your weed pipe and not even check on the lady. Man, like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? And then there's that story of where he hid under the octagon when USADA came in and like to drug test him. He hid under the octagon for 4 hours until the gym closed. Come on. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? If you clean, you clean, right? Like, damn.
John Jones is just too like there's too many issues for me to just give him the gold title.
Exactly.
It's just like
Exactly.
too many question marks.
Yeah.
Same with like I guess same with like those baseball players that were part of that steroid era in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
MLB.
yeah.
So it's like, do we put them in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I mean, not as John Jones probably still deserves it, but it's just like, man, you can't be talking like that. People have to talk for you and argue for you.
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
your place anymore because if you wanted to be the best, then you should have acted like the best. Which in
Agreed.
Khabib's case is like,
He
I don't
did.
know. Yeah, what else do you want him to do, right? What
Yeah.
else? If you want him to be, if he wants to call himself the greatest, and you're saying he's not, then what is it that you're asking him to do
Yeah.
left, right?
Exactly.
If you can answer that with a good answer, then I'll give you the
Yeah.
argument. But it's like I don't know what to do. He
Yeah.
acts right. He respects his opponents. I mean, the Conor McGregor fight got out of hand,
Yeah. But
but
also
I feel
because
like
I mean that's on Connor,
yeah,
like he crossed the line. And a man can only endure so much before he
yeah,
loses his shit. And another thing for those of you who might be wondering, Khabib retired because his mom asked him to stop fighting now that his father's passed away, and Khabib honored that wish. So that's in case any of you were wondering like why he decided to retire.
You think it's a real retirement?
I think so. I think pretty much unless somebody comes up and by reputation challenges his status. Kind of like
Fair
how
enough.
GSP quit when he was at the top because he had nothing left to prove, you know?
Fair enough.
And he only came back because just like shits and giggles, not even because
Yeah.
someone challenged his status. He was just like, I'll be back. He comes back, beats Bisping for the title. And he's like, okay, I'm done again.
Well, I don't know. GSP is such a true martial artist. He loves the idea of competing and
Yeah,
showing his
that's
skills,
true
right?
also. That's true
If
also.
you've listened to like his interviews, or I think he was on Joe Rogan where it was a long interview, so you can figure that out. I don't know
Yeah.
about Khabib, right? It's like I know he's a good fighter, but it doesn't look like as a martial artist. I mean, he only does one style. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like he's into the idea of testing different skills,
All
different
dimensions,
abilities.
yeah. But he is
It's
the
more,
type. Yeah, go ahead.
it's more of like he has the goal of just proving he's the best in terms of winning.
Yeah.
That's why he
He's
did
just
it
a
in that
competitive
singular way.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
But
know if
he
he'd
but
come
he is the
back.
I was saying he is the type that would like, oh, you think I can't strike? Like I'll strike at the start of
You
this fight
think?
just to show you.
Doesn't seem like for me
But
so
that's what
far.
that's what his behavior has looked like in fights. It's just like people are always saying like, oh, Khabib can't stay on his feet, and then he put Conor on his ass. You know, like that was like his type of thing. And then, but yeah, obviously when it fails and like he doesn't like he gets hit a few times, like oh shit, okay, I'm gonna go back to my bread and butter. But he is the kind of guy that'll like, yeah, I'll show you, I'm the best. Like I am the best.
Maybe. How
Yeah.
old is he? You know?
Let me check. Khabib he must be like 30 though. Khabib. Here we go. Khabib age. Sorry. I'll just pull this up really quick. 32. He's 32.
Not bad.
Yeah.
He could come back in 2 years and still be in good age. I don't think he's taking that much damage to begin with.
I don't think he's taking any damage. God damn. Except for the damage he does to himself in training, probably. Yeah, I think that's it. We're running a little long, so maybe we can go to the F1.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
So last Sunday was what is it called? I don't think
The
it's called the Portuguese Grand Prix.
Let me check. Well, it says here Portuguese Grand Prix on motorsport.com.
It must be that then. So the Portuguese Grand Prix, which was held at the track called Portimao, which F1 has never raced that, so it was a new race. So a big quick recap of the weekend. I think Friday it was raining pretty hard, so the practices were canceled. Then Saturday, that's when they had their first practice, I think, or at least their first full practice in this new track. You can check out the highlights on YouTube. It was pretty. The driver said it was pretty tough in terms of getting adjusted because the track is new. It was just resurfaced recently, meaning the surface, the asphalt's pretty slippery, based on their how they felt in the cars. And then the style of this track is like it's hilly, up and down, so you can't see some turns because you're going up a hill and it goes into the turn.
Damn, I didn't even realize that.
They said it was like exciting because it's like a roller coaster, but at the same time it challenges you because you won't see your apex, meaning
Yeah.
the point of the turn where you're supposed to hit your car at. So it was pretty tough. Qualifying went pretty steady in terms of top three. It was Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc went into fourth, which is surprising because Ferrari
What was
is
his
not-
starting? Because I saw that he kind of went up in the positions.
He started at fourth.
Oh, he started at fourth. Oh,
He
okay.
started at fourth. Yeah, so for Ferrari, that's pretty good
But
outcome.
Vettel ending at 10th though, like
Vettel has not been performing well this season in comparison, especially to Leclerc. So
Yeah.
10th is not bad for him this season, which is kind of strange. The rest of the midfield is pretty standard, I think. No
Yeah.
big surprises.
there was the instance at the start of the race during the first few turns where Sainz was able to take the first position.
Yeah, it was a
Uh,
messy start from the Mercedes. Verstappen went off the track and hit Perez on his way back.
Yeah.
And So in that mayhem on the first lap, somehow Carlos Sainz makes it to first.
Yeah.
Didn't last too long because he's not meant to be up there, I
Yeah.
guess. um, yeah, if you watch, it's a pretty steady Grand Prix in terms of Hamilton ended up winning, Bottas second, Verstappen third, so and Leclerc fourth. So like the qualifying positions held up mostly.
Hmm.
The big storylines coming from the race. Hamilton won. That's his 92nd win in F1, which makes him the most winningest driver in F1 history, beating Michael Schumacher's record. So pretty crazy that he's still in the prime of his career and he is the record holder. So
Yeah.
it's like a living goat situation type of
Yep.
thing.
What a
Very
time to be
strange.
alive.
Yeah. What
Um,
else?
Pierre Gasly at fifth.
That's
He's
his
been doing
second
well.
top six back to back
Yeah.
finish. So he's doing pretty well in that secondary Red Bull car, the Alpha Tauri,
Yeah.
which
And
brings up a pretty interesting
ironic.
storyline
Yeah.
because Alex Albon finished I think 12th,
Yep.
13th or 12th, something
12.
like that. And there have been more rumors of him kind of like he might lose a seat at Red Bull. Like
Yeah, I mean,
well,
he's
right.
been steadily at like from 5
He's,
to 12, you know? Like
they haven't been impressed with his performances.
yeah.
Is more of the thing. It's like
It's a shame. I like him. I liked his
I
episode
know.
on
Yeah, his personality is really good. But
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly is also very
Yeah,
interesting as a character, right? And his redemption story where like
yeah.
he said, if you watch the F1 docu, it was like he was in Red Bull last year, got kicked out and replaced by Alex Albon, got moved to the lower team. So they switched places.
Yeah.
And basically this season, Pierre Gasly has been outperforming him. So it's like, is it time for him to come back? Red Bull have also said they might look outside their
Mhm.
drivers. So
Should be interesting.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind Pierre Gasly coming back because him at AlphaTauri makes me really like him. His personality, his willingness to like take on the race and the challenges. But
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I like Alex Albon too. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah. It's nice to see Gasly because they kind of framed him as this guy who crumbles in the moment in the
But then, yeah,
documentary,
right,
right?
yeah.
But
This
then
year
seeing him
he's beaten like his teammate Alex Albon, has
yeah.
picked up a podium, has won a race actually this year.
Yeah.
So it's like
Rose to
how
the occasion.
so it's like how do you pick again?
I don't know. I'm also looking at Lance Stroll. He's been doing well this year, right? But he's the guy whose dad owns the
Yeah,
racing team.
yeah. He owned and they're rebranding to Aston Martin next year. Vettel's joining him.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
That's right.
to be honest, people called him like a shitty driver, and he's only racing because his dad's in it. But he's actually, for me, pretty good. I was part of that opinion where he was really bad, but them having a really good car this year and him having some pretty consistent results. Aside
Yeah.
from
I was shocked actually to see
right,
that he's been pretty consistent middle of the pack, you know.
he had a bad race last Sunday, but he was
But
out for the
he got
last
out.
two for
Yeah, he got
COVID.
out.
Yeah, so it's like
And
rust.
he DNF'd, you know, because like
Yeah,
he
he got hit by
I don't remember who.
I think it was Lando Norris or something like
Yeah.
that, and then his car just picked up some damage.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for those
It
of
was a
you,
pretty okay race. It was an
yeah,
okay race.
it
The
was
start was
okay,
fun, and the middle to the end, it was like pretty standard stuff.
standard.
Yeah, because like the Lewis Hamilton basically lapped the everyone but the top three or top
Yeah,
four. So it just shows how far he was ahead of
dude,
the
the
rest
gap
of the
was
people.
25 seconds, 25.5. So that's like
Yeah.
26 basically. That's crazy.
Uh,
Um, I like Verstappen. I like Verstappen in general because he's a fiery guy. But then when they interview him, he's so pragmatic. He's just like, how do you think you did today? Like finishing third. He was like, well, we had a rocky start, but I think we finished where we were supposed to finish. I was like, look at this guy.
he got a bad rep early in his career because he was reckless as a driver.
Mhm.
So I think he's matured in the last 2 years. He's only 22, 23.
Yeah, dude,
So
he's
it's
younger
like
than us. Fuck.
he was like in F1 when he was like 17 or 18
Yeah, the
already.
youngest,
So
right? Wasn't he
yeah,
like the youngest driver?
winner or something like that.
Yeah.
Before he had a driver's license, he was already in F1. So it's kind of crazy.
That's so wild. What a
But yeah, I
reputation.
mean, he's for me, he's the next best driver to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, it's just the car.
Is like,
It's just the
yeah,
car.
Bottas is there because of the car, but
Yeah.
he extracts some results that are like pretty surprising.
Yeah.
And like I think that's why it makes it so tough for the Red Bull second driver. They always have to
Yeah.
compare them to Verstappen, who's like third. So anything below that is like, oh, why aren't you?
Why aren't you
Even if they
performing like
say-
Max?
Yeah, it's even if the team says like, oh no, we won't compare them or whatever.
Is
I
it
don't
true
know.
that some of these teams have different cars for the two drivers? Is that true?
Yeah, for Red Bull, they ended up saying on Max has a different car from Alex Albon.
Yeah.
because the COVID messed up production of the upgrades and parts. It just happens. So it's not normal. It's because that creates tension. Why does he have
Yeah.
upgrades and I don't? But
It's like preferential treatment.
in some cases, like also in Racing Point, that Lance's car got damaged, so they fitted him with upgrades that were supposed to go to Sergio Perez.
Uh-huh.
That's like, his dad owns the team. What else he can do about it?
What about for Ferrari? Like I'm seeing a lot of memes about the car being different.
They're shite.
Yeah, they're shite. No, I know that much. I
Yeah.
know the cars are shite. I feel bad for Science. He's seeing some relative success this season, and he's moving into
I don't
Ferrari.
think I mean like Leclerc has shown that the car has some ability. So I'm not too. And next year or next year will be next year will be completely different regulations. So the cars will be reset anyway.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. I think people are just trying to figure out why Vettel's so far from Leclerc, and they're speculating whether they're like, since Vettel's leaving, they're giving him a lesser car,
Sure.
things like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. For me, Vettel hasn't seemed so enthusiastic about this year anyway.
Yeah. But the
When
past,
you
he seems
watch-
unengaged.
When you hear him in like the radio and he's like, I gave it everything I could. I'm like, are you sure you're gonna say that? I mean, like, I'm not an expert. He might be completely telling the truth, but it's just
Yeah.
like your teammate's up in fourth. Are you sure? Unless it's
Yelling.
true that they gave him a better car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it because we can. When is the next Grand Prix?
Oh, I don't know. I just
I'll pull it up.
Excuse me.
I'll pull it
Yeah.
up.
F1 schedule. Another storyline: the Haas team. So Kevin Magnussen or Roman Grosjean,
Grosjean.
they're out in terms of next year. They will not be on the team, so they're getting a full driver replacement.
Oh, what about the principal?
No, they're keeping him. They're just reshuffling the team now in terms of
Okay.
they're thinking that Mick Schumacher will end up on the team. So
I heard
Michael
that.
Schumacher's kid, it's either there or Alfa Romeo, since they're both Ferrari like customer teams or partner teams, and Mick Schumacher's in like the Ferrari drivers.
The new storyline is that
Cool.
he's going after Hamilton for taking his dad's record.
And I don't know if he's as good. I think he won F2, so the lower division though. so.
Okay. Next
see
race is
how
on
it is.
Sunday, November 1, 8
What is
p.m. It is I think it's Italian because it's the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari.
So I think it's Monza, which is
Okay.
Ferrari's like home circuit. Leclerc won that last year.
Better
Now he'll
win.
win it this year.
Better
No,
win.
I mean,
Mercedes
That's
said
betting-
since Hamilton's GOAT now, they're just not going to race in that one now.
dude, Mercedes said that they weren't upgrading the car for the rest of the year. They're like, we're focusing on next year's car already, because they
Yeah.
usually don't say that because you still have to keep your car consistent throughout the
Yeah,
rest of
yeah.
the season. But I think they're so far ahead. They're like, we're good.
Yeah,
Good.
fuck it. Fuck it. We got to learn to
Dude.
work with the budget now.
They won the constructors championship already.
Damn, really?
Yeah. So Mercedes is the team
They're like-
as a champion.
That means like they're overall champion, right?
yeah. Then they just have to seal the drivers' championship because that's the
Yeah.
more coveted one.
For
which
sure.
I think Lewis probably gonna win, and that'll be his
Yeah.
7th or 8th, which it's
which
either
is the-
tying or breaking Schumacher's record.
I think it's
don't know.
tying. I think it's tying.
Yeah,
I was
so-
reading up on the records just because I was like, God damn, Hamilton.
but he can't beat my F1 2020 team.
Dude, I'm starting
No, I'm
out,
just
bro.
joking.
I'm starting out, bro.
I think we
tried
can
doing.
put it in the next consuming.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
both bought the F1 2020 on Steam because it was on sale.
Dude, I'm
And there's a
so
My Team
I'm
mode.
shite. I'm
There's a
shite.
My Team mode, so I started my own team to take it to Mercedes.
I'm gonna start my career.
Although I'm using their engine, so.
Oh man. Yeah, we'll talk more about this in the next consuming episode probably because we're running pretty long. Anyways, that's it for sports. A lot of stuff actually we got to talk about. I thought that we'd be running
this
short.
new format, we're filling it up with just the
Yeah.
content of whatever segment we're talking about.
Yeah, I like it. We hope you like it too. If you have any feedback, let us know. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, and I don't know if you can rate on Spotify, but follow us on Spotify. You can follow our music too, No One's Home, and you can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram and on SoundCloud, but we don't really use our SoundCloud anymore. What else? Oh, on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube page. Give us a like if you want. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Hit that bell. And as always, we're gonna have links in the bottom to organizations you can donate to for COVID relief. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks very much for listening to Sports Shmenter. This is Clau.
I was waiting. This was Mark. This is Mark.
Yeah.
Peace.
I'm gonna mute up. Peace.